Hey folks, welcome back to Deer Corner. Glad to see you're with me again this afternoon. Out here locating a new deer stand location. Several key things I look at when I'm locating a stand. The number one is accessibility, how to get to it. When you put in a stand, you have to be able to get to it fairly easy without disturbing the rest of the area. 2, cover. You have to put a stand up where you have actual cover. Cover yourself. And it's like before I mentioned, it's like you go to bed, you're sleeping, and I move a chair in your living room. When you get up the next morning, you're going to come out and notice that chair. Deer are the same way, especially your older deer. They know every in and out of these woods back in here, and you put something new up, they're going to know about it. So if you're putting it up right before hunting season, they'll become spooky. So we like to get, or I like to get my stands up several months before deer season to get used to it. And that's number 2. Number 3 is the area. Now, I've chosen this area for many factors. Now, I'll show you, but we're at the top of a ridge coming out of the bottom, and it's coming up to the hardwoods. So you're at basically a neutral zone. Up here's your hardwoods, and down here's your bottom, mountain laurel and what have you. But the deer, they're transitioning, is coming from the bottom, coming up into your hardwoods to feed. And this is going to be an early year stand because the acorns, once they fall, they're gone. They won't be coming up here to the hardwoods due to the fact the acorns are gone. So your transition is going to be between the two. Catch them coming up into the acorns or going from the acorns back down to the bottom. But they tend to go to the bottom quite a bit here in the mountains due to the weather. And the number 4 reason I chose in this area, and it's really not in a bedding area, because a deer will lay down anywhere. Anywhere it feels safe, it's going to lay down. And there's a whole lot of videos out there talking about bedding areas. If a deer feels safe, it's going to lay down. And a deer may lay down 4 or 5 times a day. Get up and move, feed, lay down. Especially up here when winters get bad and they have to feed to stay warm. So there really isn't a bedding area, but there is an area that they get together at. And it's down behind here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you, spin the camera around and show you our transition and what I'm talking about, the transition. But early spring like this is a good time to get out scouting and looking for signs and looking where the deer are going and coming from. So let me go ahead and spin the camera around, show you where I'm going to be placing the stand. Now we're putting in a box stand. It's going to be permanent. And when you put them up, you want to be sure you got them in the proper place, because there's just no moving them once you get them up. So let me go ahead, spin the camera around and show you what I'm doing. Now the other direction, the deer come up. They'll come up through this area right here. There's a good deer trail coming up through here. They use pretty heavily. And if you walk through that, you'll see where they've been coming up here recently, nipping on what foliage and nipping the branches off the foliage already that's been coming up. As you can see, some of these branches are already to where they nipped them all the leaves off, young leaves. So the deer have been coming up here quite regularly through here. And we're going to be placing the stand, box stand, right back in there. It's going to be behind that mountain laurel, and that mountain laurel, it stays green all year, so you do have a good background. Now down through here, now that's a transition area. Up here's the top of the hill. Top of the hill is up here, and that's where the oak trees, white oaks and the red oaks start. Back up in here. And down right here is your transition. And it drops off. It drops off about 150 feet. So right here at this transition is where we're going to place the stand. And it'll give you, when the foliage is off the tree and you can see down through there, you'll be able to see 150 yards. And down through here where it's splitting down, you'll have a 35 foot area on the transition for the deer to cross. So this here will give you a very good early stand where the deer are getting to the acorns. And just show you the drop off of this hillside. This goes on down, 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 down. But there isn't nothing there for them to feed on this hill slope. Once you get up to this transition, then your white oaks and red oak acorns come in. So this is the reason why I chose in this area to put up a deer stand. Even though it's not hunting season and I get out here and I'm in the woods, especially way back here, getting ready to put on a new stand, I still wear my orange. You never know. I want to be noticed. And if I run into somebody, it's like, hey, who are you? But I want to be noticed. I want to be seen. And I'd rather be safe. So I'm back in here a good little click. And it'll take, 20, 25 minutes to walk back into this new stand. The location's pretty good. But you have to do your scouting. You have to get out. You have to look. Like I said, I want to get my stands up and out early enough so I don't actually spook the deer. I want them to get used to it, come around it, and the transition between the bottom valley and the top, the hill where the oak trees are, I got a very, very good transition area for the deer to come through. And that transition area is a very key thing in placing your deer stand, because you don't want to be in their feeding area. You don't want them to spook out of their feeding area when they come up. Nor do you want to be down into the bottom area spooking them so they don't come up. So you find that happy middle, that happy transition. area to place your stand. And I'm glad you're with me. And go ahead and subscribe. If there's a comment you want to know, go ahead and ask it. I don't know it all, but I've been doing it for many, many years. And I've been pretty good at it here lately. So I'm glad to see you. And remember, when you're in the woods, be safe. Like I always say, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And you all have a good day.